So just to kind of set things up here, I know that around the midpoint of the season, TJ was kind of falling not off, but falling behind in being caught
Mm-hmm.
up on it. I myself was feeling a little lost with what we were doing, kind of treading water. But I'm not one of these people that it's all filler. I know well enough now with Star Wars animated shows that everything's important. At some point, things will come up. Classic example that we'll talk about a little bit later, but one of the earlier episodes this year, why are we watching a whole episode about Tech being a race car driver? Well, maybe because it's to set up the fact that Tech, for once in his life, felt appreciated for something other than killing people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I wonder why that would be important to pay attention to Tech's psychological state. Um, let's start off because I feel like the last time we really talked about this, let's start at the episode Metamorphosis, um, which really is or sorry, not Metamorphosis, the episode The Outpost, which was really where this show kind of kicked it into high gear with these last 5 episodes. So we got this beautiful Crosshair episode with him and Commander Mayday at this Imperial outpost, which really saw, and again, this is full spoilers, which really saw Crosshair finally kind of break down and realize that no matter what he does, the Empire is just not going to give him the satisfaction and the approval that he seeks. And he just snaps and
Mm-hmm.
kills Nolan at the end of that episode after the absolutely devastating death of Mayday. Just that episode is so beautiful with starting out of him Crosshair saying to Mayday like, "Why would you go back for a man that's already died?" Or why he's just dead weight, and then the episode ending with Crosshair literally carrying Mayday on his back. We then find out, even though Mayday had already died, carrying him on his back through a literal avalanche, which wipes away Crosshair's Imperial helmet. Amazing symbolism right there. But and then seeing that bird, like everything about that episode was just so fantastic. Of him just kind of realizing I really fucked this up. Uh, and then we were kind of building to this finale. We then checked back in with the Bad Batch of them finding this beautiful place of Pabu, maybe a place for them to potentially settle down, form a new life. Um, but then, we started kind of gearing in this direction of maybe we are going to go and get Crosshair. And
Mm-hmm.
then when Echo came back and Crosshair sent out the message warning them that they were looking for Omega, we really were like, man, we are ramping up. This finale is going to be this awesome. We're going to break Crosshair out of Mount Tantus. The show is, maybe it's only a 2-season show and it's going to end. We're going to save Crosshair from Mount Tantus. Everybody's going to come back and live on Pabu for the rest of their life. Happy days. Um, and then none of that happened, and multiple people died, and it ended on one of the most Empire Strikes Back level downers that I think that Star Wars has had in a long time. So just that kind of groundwork laid out. How did you feel about the season overall, and then how did you kind of feel about this absolutely insane back half of the season?
Yeah, I thought the season overall was good. I thought it had some dips. I felt like, every so often we'd have like a really strong episode, and then next episode or two would be kind of lulls.
Yeah.
But I thought they really finished strong at the end with, obviously, like you said, starting with that Crosshair episode. The Pabu episode was, I was kind of in and out of that one a little bit, but then I really started to come back the last three, I'd say.
Oh yeah.
Um, but overall, I'm looking forward to season three. I liked what they kind of set up at the end of this season,
Yeah.
and so I'm interested to see where it goes. But at the same time, I am a little confused just the way it ended because I had said to you, I don't
Let's talk
really
about it.
know,
Yeah.
I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with that information. Uh, and
Oh,
I
you
saw
mean just the very ending?
just the very ending. Like
Yeah.
I'm not sure what and I saw somebody on Twitter that I think it was like while I was watching the episode or something. Somebody in like one of the threads because the episode was being tweeted about, and somebody was like, uh, the the that reveal at the end isn't the flex that Lucasfilm thinks it is. Like it's not like to us,
Yeah.
it's really just like, okay, like I don't know why this matters. Like
Yeah.
we could have gone without her revealing that she's her sister, and we would have been fine.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think to hit on that real quick, and then I will circle back and talk about obviously the elephant in the room of what happens in the finale. Um, I do think that it was kind of a weird beat to end it on.
yeah.
Because I feel
Especially
like
because
it
we
would
don't
have
really
just
know who
been,
that lady is, that she is. She's like a
yeah.
scientist, and it's like, okay, like,
And there was some people thinking that maybe she would be like maybe Dr. Pershing's mother or something like
oh,
that.
okay,
I thought that could be interesting too. But I think that it was kind of a weird, like, because the ending was beautiful as it was, which was them bringing Omega into Tantus, seeing Nala Se being like, why are you bringing, what do you need her here for, like thinking they were going to experiment on her, but she's like, they're like, no, she's just here to make sure that you work, and if you don't
Mhm.
work, then we will torture her. Like that was a cool moment with Nala Se, and then we just got some super dark exterior shots of Mount Tantus, and then all of a sudden we cut back into Mount Tantus, and then get that moment of like, oh, it's so weird that you trust him but not me
Yeah,
when I'm your sister, and then
yeah.
takes off the goggles, and you're like, it's
What?
Omega with brown hair.
Yeah.
Like, and then it just ended. I will say, I don't think that they were like, oh my god, this is gonna blow everyone's
Right. Yeah.
minds. This is the best reveal ever. But I do think it was a little like tacked on
Yeah.
feeling. Um, but that being said, I think that definitely did feel tacked on. But everything before that, um, I mean, how'd you feel? We got the first episode of the finale, the summit. We got some great. First of all, I love when Tarkin's in this show, because
Hmm.
this is just the most kind of in his bag. Tarkin feels like he's really feeling himself. He's
It's bad.
he's
Yep.
he's kind of he's kind of running whatever he wants to. Palpatine and Anakin are out there kind of busy doing their own little shenanigans with some Sith stuff. So I feel like he's really making sure all these projects are running. We get a little Orson Krennic appearance with actual Ben Mendelsohn, and Alex Damon over at Star Wars Explained always points out that whenever you see a fully polished character model on somebody, they never do that for just a one-off. So I feel like maybe we'll be getting more of Krennic, maybe more of Tarkin in season 3. But yeah, how'd you kind of feel about the whole Saw Gerrera thing? Because that's kind of launched into its own little discourse online of people saying like, the people that are saying that they're mad at Saw Gerrera, like you're missing the point. I like to push back on that a little bit.
Hmm.
I think that the whole point is that Saw Gerrera is doing what he thinks is right,
Right. Yeah.
but he's getting hollow victories. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like Tech says to him, and I love that it is Tech that says to him, what do you think's going to happen here? First of all, they're going to be so protected, you're not going to take out Tarkin.
Hmm.
Even if you do take out Tarkin, Tech says right to him, he goes, if you take out Governor Tarkin, they're just going to replace him with somebody else.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so he blows that operation, and then he directly leads. And I know people are like, well, he doesn't directly lead to his death. It's the stormtroopers. And it's like, yeah, but why were they in that position to hightail it out of there as fast as they did? Because Saw blew it up while the Bad Batch were still in there.
Hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? He just had no care for that. But so, what are your kind of thoughts on Saw Gerrera's role here? And then we'll end off. What are your thoughts on everything that happened with Tech in general?
Yeah, I thought it was nice to see that character again. I don't even remember last time we saw it. Was he in season 1 at
The
all?
last one, the first episode.
Okay. So
Remember,
that
their
was,
very
yeah,
first mission was they went to Tarkin, told them to go kill Saw Gerrera, and they didn't.
got it. It was nice to see him again. I would say, yeah, I don't know if you can I don't know if you can blame. I guess you can, because again, he does blow it up. They kind of try to talk him out of it too, like you said, and he
Mm-hmm.
just kind of goes through with it.
You won't listen.
Right, won't listen. And it obviously led to that untimely death, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think he's kind of just stuck in his,
Loop.
in his loop.
Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't really it's kind of all for nothing, because like you said, even if
Yeah.
you do all this stuff, you blow it up, everything. It's like they're just gonna rebuild
Hmm.
it, or
Yeah,
even
they're
kill
gonna
Tarkin, like
rebuild
you
it.
said.
They're gonna replace him. Like the only thing that would have made a difference is if like Galen Erso was there.
Mhm.
Okay, if you take out Galen Erso, yeah, they're pretty fucked on the
Fine,
Death
yeah.
Star. Like,
What do
you know
they
what I mean?
call? Sorry, real quick. What do they call the Death Star? They call it like, oh,
Project Stardust.
oh, is that what it was? Stardust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because remember that was his nickname for Jin, and so that was
Right.
how she knew he
Okay.
was like the file would be Project
What was
Stardust.
the? What was the? Oh, Cinder in Battlefront 2.
Operation Cinder.
Cinder.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Man, see, I love that stuff. Like
Yeah.
I replayed for the 5 hours it takes you. I replayed the Battlefront 2 campaign the other day.
Mhm.
That was something I didn't touch on at all, and I have been playing games like a
Mhm.
lot. Like I have been playing video games like more than I have in the last few months, like crazy ever since Hogwarts Legacy. But uh, yeah, I love that whole realm of it, and then also sorry, just I would always get myself distracted. Just the Operation Cinder shout out, that beautiful Bill Burr scene from Mando season 2. Remember when he was at Operation Cinder and
Mhm.
that guy's like, yeah, Operation Cinder, we really got them, man. And that like Bill Burr's just like the tension in his face is
Mhm.
just ratcheting up, and then he just blows him away. Like a moment like that is really what works in this universe of like naming, like giving a little shout out to something like Operation Cinder. But yeah, how did you feel kind of about Tech's death, and how it kind of came about, the way that it was kind of done, and everything like that, and what do you think it kind of means going forward? And most importantly, do you think that he is truly dead? I mean, we get, which by the way, also
Jeez.
can we
Yeah.
talk about Hemlock? I feel like we haven't talked about Hemlock at all, you and I together. Great villain to replace
Yeah.
Rampart. I think that he is Jimmy Simpson from Westworld, a bunch of other stuff
Mhm.
voices him. So like they really brought in like an actual actor to bring this guy to life. And somebody said that he looks like evil Jeremy Renner, and now I can't unsee that anytime I see him.
I get that.
But
Yep.
like, yeah, how do you feel about all this stuff? Hemlock throwing his goggles at him, saying this is all we could scrape up. And just I mean, I don't know about you, man. I don't know if you were as locked in as I was. I was in tears. I was like, this is straight up the worst Star Wars death for me since like Kanan. Because it
Yeah.
was just so unexpected. It was like, oh, we're getting everybody back together. JK, one of them died.
Mhm.
Like I was like, oh my god. And then the train car and everything. But what did you kind of think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was really sad. I wasn't in tears, but
Mhm.
and I saw something too. It's like, well, they were very much putting an emphasis on him as a character throughout the season.
Yeah.
So obviously, of course, something had happened.
It's one of those things that as soon as it happened, you're like, okay, yep, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
It's like, man, they're really making Tech the focus this year. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh god.
And he had a lot of great moments in this season.
Mhm.
And I would want to say that he is dead just so it can stay and be something of, again, I hate to say it, like it so it means something, but I feel like you would just kind of have to leave him be dead. Again, that thing fell on him. Like I don't know how you're surviving
I
that.
know. Because that's the thing. He hit, and then it hit him.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
oof.
And even like when Rampart, right? Or no.
Yeah.
When he comes and they're in the last
Or
episode,
Hemlock. Sorry,
Hemlock,
yeah.
and they're looking for them. They find them. He's like, oh, here's the goggles that you're looking for. And it's
Yeah.
his guy. I was like, oh my god. So I would imagine they found him, but maybe they like have him. Maybe you see him later in like some sort of tube or whatever. I don't know.
So my theory is, and first of all,
Now the more I talk about it, maybe he does come back in some way.
all I'll say is to keep it kind of light spoilers. I'm not going to spoil what I'm talking about, but just
Right.
the fact that we lost 2 legends in 1
Mhm.
week that week, it was pretty rough. Especially the one, the live action one and the animated one. But yeah, so the more I've thought about, so if we had done this review like a week ago, like I was originally going to be like, oh, maybe we'll do a separate video for this, but I honestly, I have watched the episode like 5 times. I was like, just like I watch Kanan's death over and over again just to feel, the hurt again.
Yeah.
I've been watching this, and the more I look at it, the more I do think that Hemlock is up to something, because he goes, "This is all we could scrape up of him." I don't believe that for a second.
Mhm.
What I'm thinking now, remember that assassin droid that tried to take out Rex and Chuchi in the Coruscant episodes?
Mhm.
Or not assassin droid, sorry, the assassin clone that Rex was like, his CT number has been stripped. I didn't even know
Mhm.
you could do that. And we were very worried that Crosshair was going to get turned into that. I'm starting to think more and more. I think that Omega and Crosshair maybe get out. Um, I think that they're going to turn, if they did recover Tech's body, I think they're going to turn Tech into a mindless assassin thing. Because you think that it would be Crosshair, because that's what makes sense, is he's the hard ass, that they're going to turn into that and everything. But I think if they do bring Tech back, I think that they're going to make him unrecognizable type of thing.
Yeah.
But what do you think if they were to bring him back? And do you think they're going to bring him back?
The more I talk about it, I think they will. Again, I think they're
Mhm.
really leaning into the whole kind of more, and obviously they're clones already, but leaning more into the obviously Snow clone type thing, that
Yeah.
whole thing.
And in Mando, Pershing said just from one genetic strand.
Mhm.
So literally all they need is like a finger, and they could bring him
Right.
back if they wanted to.
I think they will bring him back, and I think you could be on the right track. I think they use him against him. I think maybe we gain Crosshair back, but then we lose Tech probably.
Yeah.
Somewhere along those lines.
Yeah. And I will say the last thing I just want to touch on is I think that they did a really excellent job. I was sad to see Echo take a step back after the midseason. Take us. I mean, he left the show in essence. I mean, he was gone for like 8 weeks. But I think that really, because a lot of the big criticism of the first one was, why do you have Tech and Echo? Like they really kind of serve the same. Yeah. Like, so I think that kind of separating them really gave Tech a great moment to shine. So I'm really excited that we're gonna have Echo now back. And also, the fact, one of the biggest criticisms of the end of the first season is, yes, we lost Camino, super emotional, great, but the show kind of ended with status quo, and this season opened with the status quo of they're just out doing missions. Now you cannot say that, because Omega's gone, Crosshair's gone, Tech is dead, Echo is destroyed, Wrecker is physically destroyed. I mean, it looks like he broke his neck. He had that huge collar on. And then you get that great, kind of Joel Miller monologue from Hunter, where he is like gritting his teeth and saying, I will move, I will kill anyone I have to get her back. So I think that we're in for a darker, just like all the animated Star Wars shows do. They always get darker the more the seasons progress. They always have done that, and I think that we are in store for maybe Bad Batch Season 3 being the darkest season of Star Wars animation that we've gotten so far. So really excited to see that. But those are some of our thoughts on the Bad Batch Season 2. So thank you guys for joining us. Let us know what you guys thought of the Bad Batch Season 2 in the comments down below. And while you're down there, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much.